Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I am Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Hey, earlier today, I sent a little tweet out about this incident that's been running rampant out there in the Twittersphere, Exosphere, whatever we're calling it this week. And it involved these two female police officers outside of Houston who went to a burglary call and then just decided to dump their magazines into the home and upon the homeowner. Now, this continues a disturbing trend that we've seen in the last couple of weeks where officers have frankly just been a little too trigger happy. Let us remember the Acorn incident from 2 weeks ago. But one of my loyal viewers had a fantastic question, and it was a question I answered for him, and then I thought, dang, that would probably make a pretty good video. So I ran down here to the gun club right away because I want to get this out to you. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about laws of self-defense. We're going to run through some hypotheticals, and it's a crazy hypothetical, but it's one that unfortunately, as we've seen now, could actually happen. So today, let's spend a few minutes and let's talk about if the cops are unlawfully shooting at me, can I shoot back? Okay, so we're going to go to Houston, Texas, because as you probably have heard, a couple of police officers were called to a residence for a potential home burglary. The home burglary actually turned out to be the homeowner who had broken a window to get inside of her own home when she locked herself out. Now, the police, after circling the perimeter of the building and finding nothing amiss, decided that they would actually go up and knock on this person's door. Now, this is in the middle of the night. This woman lives alone. This is the state of Texas. And so I think that a lot of us, if there was pounding on the door, or we knew that somebody was on our front porch in the wee hours of the morning and were armed, might want to arm ourselves and just go check and see what's happening at the front door. Unfortunately for this woman, when she came into the officer's view holding a gun, the following ensued.
Shots fired, shots fired.
Okay, the homeowner, Emily Pouncey, who was lawfully inside her own residence at that time, was struck multiple times. She sustained very serious injuries. They are non-life-threatening, however. She is expected to make a full recovery. I'm sure the plaintiff's lawyers are lining up right now to represent her. But this begs the really interesting question, which is if, God forbid, you would be involved in a situation where law enforcement officers are unlawfully firing upon you, do you have the right to shoot back? Okay, so to understand that, we're going to have to go through all of our foundational and general rules of self-defense. So here we go. We know in almost every jurisdiction in the United States that the force we use to defend ourselves must be 1, necessary, 2, reasonable, both objectively and subjectively, and 3, proportional. All right. We also know that we cannot use lethal force unless we are in imminent threat of death or serious bodily injury. And if you really break down all of the case law from around the country, you will see that there's essentially 4 instances in which individuals are allowed to lawfully use lethal force. Number 1, you are in imminent threat of death or serious bodily injury. Number 2, someone else in your presence is in imminent threat of death or serious bodily injury. Number 3, you have a felony being committed upon your person. Or number 4, you have a felony being committed inside your home. Under any one of those 4 circumstances, you will, in most instances, be allowed to use lethal force. Let us also remember that Texas, like many, many other states, has a no duty to retreat, a castle doctrine, a stand your ground, whatever you want to call it, which basically says, listen, so long as you are lawfully located in that spot, you are under no legal obligation or duty to retreat. This woman, Miss Pouncey, is actually actually in her own home. And then finally, let us remember that under the first aggressor standard, if we are the first aggressor, that is the one that actually provokes the altercation, we cannot then later claim self-defense. Now, I find it very hard to believe that Miss Pouncey here was the first aggressor when she actually just broke into her own home. She is committing no criminal activity whatsoever when law enforcement arrives. She's going to have to replace a window, but that's her own doing, okay? She, from all accounts, is lawfully armed. She has every right in the world to be armed inside her home. She has every right to arm herself when approaching a front door with strangers standing outside in the wee hours of the morning. So it is Washington Gun Law's opinion that when these officers started firing upon Miss Pouncey, that was done without any lawful authority. And therefore, Miss Pouncey at this point is encountered with unlawful, lethal force that is being used against her. Is she in imminent threat of death or serious bodily injury? Yes. And if the officers were better shots, she would have been even in more imminent threat. If there are other people in the home, and the stories I've read does not indicate that, but if there are other people in the home, there would be others now who are in imminent threat of death or serious bodily injury. Is she having a felony committed upon her person? She most certainly is. It's attempted murder. And is a felony occurring inside of her home? Yes, it's also attempted murder. So at the very least, Miss Pouncey has at least 3 reasons to defend herself using lethal force. Take, for example, also our Acorn incident. After this officer was shot and taken down by an Acorn, he started firing upon his own patrol car with a suspect in there. Now, if, and I know this is a crazy hypothetical, but if that suspect was in the back of the patrol car and able to arm themselves, would they have been lawfully allowed to return fire? The answer is yes, they would have, because they were encountered with unlawful lethal force being used against them. So the bottom line is if you are encountering unlawful lethal force or any force that places you or other people in your presence in danger of death or serious bodily injury, you are lawfully permitted to use lethal force in defense of yourself and others. Now, I want everyone to recognize the limitations of this video. This video is entitled, "If Cops Are Unlawfully Shooting at Me, Can I Shoot Back?" The video is not entitled, "If Cops Are Unlawfully Shooting at Me, Should I Shoot Back?" Those are questions that I am going to leave to the tactical people. I want to stay inside my lane. So while I can tell you what you have the right to do, remember there is a lot more education that's necessary before you understand how to do the right thing. Listen, we'll go ahead and put all the news sources that we relied upon in making this story down there in the description box. To both of those officers, you might want to start getting your attorneys. To the police department, you might want to start warming up your civil attorneys, because I have a feeling a lawsuit is coming. If you guys got any more questions about this or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights, you should know how to get a hold of Washington Gun Law by now. If you don't, that's okay. That information's down there in the description box. And then let's remember that part of being a lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation, how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching. Stay safe.